Good afternoon, colleagues and friends. Welcome to the Faculty Convocation. Traditionally, we begin the Faculty Convocation program with the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. And leading us today in our singing will be Dr. Gloria Thurmond. She will be accompanied by Dr. Dina Levine. They're both on the faculty of the College of Communication and the Arts.
Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wheeled at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight were the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, see, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing. As now Father Brian Musas of the School of Diplomacy and International Relations will deliver the invocation.
Let us place ourselves in a spirit of prayer. O God, the human family addresses you in many ways and by many names. I will address you in the Catholic fashion. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Direct, O Lord, all our actions by your holy inspiration, and carry them on by your gracious assistance, so that every prayer that we make and every action that we take may always begin with you, and by you be brought to a happy completion through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Thurmond, Dr. Levine, and Father Musas. Please be seated. President Meehan, Provost Boroff, Dr. Farina, members of the Dias Party, newly promoted faculty and colleagues, welcome to this, our annual faculty convocation. My name is Father Lawrence Porter. I'm a professor in Seton Hall University Seminary School of Theology, and it is my pleasure to convene us all here this day as we recognize faculty accomplishments and in a very special way, welcome new faculty. This afternoon, we celebrate the bonds that join us together, and we share in the renewed energy and excitement as we begin a new academic year. Before I introduce the first speaker, I would like to introduce members of the Dias Party. First, our interim president, Dr. Mary Meehan, our interim provost and executive vice president, Dr. Karen Boroff, Dr. Jonathan Farina, chair of the Faculty Senate, Dr. Marta Dyrup, recipient of the 2018 Albert Hakem Faculty Service Medal. Our keynote speaker, Dr. James Kimball from the College of Communication and the Arts. Also on the dais here this afternoon are the deans of our colleges and schools and members of the Faculty Convocation Planning Committee. Now, to present the necrology, I would like to welcome Gerard Shea from University Libraries to the podium.
We remember and honor our fellow faculty who died during the past year. They are Edward R. Delasio, Chief Operating Officer, University President; Carol Bettavina, Department of Biological Sciences, College of Arts and Sciences; Professor Emerita Francesca Champion, College of Nursing; Professor David Gorley, Department of Political Science and Public Affairs, College of Arts and Sciences; Carol Ann Kending, Department of Psychology, College of Arts and Sciences; Professor Lloyd A. McBride, College of Communication and the Arts; Dr. Francis P. McQuaid, Professor Emeritus, School of Law; Professor Peter Porter, History Department, College of Arts and Sciences; Dr. William C. Struening, Stillman School of Business. May the memory of our deceased colleagues remain in our hearts, minds, and prayers.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the chair of the Faculty Senate and to invite him to say a few words. Dr. Jonathan Farina is chair of the Faculty Senate and an associate professor in the English department. Dr. Farina.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. We come together at the end of a terribly sad week, here on campus and in the Carolinas. But we come together to recommit to our work as teachers and as scholars and to our mission, liberal arts education in the Catholic tradition. We commit to educate compassionate, rational, free servant leaders who take responsibility for helping others and solving problems, personal or global, mental or physical. We are here because lives are fragile and life can be difficult, and because this world can be unforgiving. Whatever we teach and study, let us remember our call to teach people in our different ways how to overcome this fragility and difficulty with intelligence and faith. The most remarkable faculty recognize the intersection of the mission with whatever discipline they study. I well know many of our students forget our names with astonishing ease, but I recall an old professor of mine, a priest named Father McGowan, who teaches statistics and business strategy and writes about ungodly things: alcohol, smoking, gambling, and taxes. My freshman year, must have been 2011, 2012, I had Father McGowan for business statistics, a course whose subject matter might seem outright anathema to the Catholic mission. But McGowan made a habit of articulating the social, personal, and philosophical ramifications of his subject, whether explaining rates of return or Bayes' theorem, and he did so without compromising intellectual rigor. One day, McGowan segued from a discussion of qualitative risk into a little tangent with his foot up on the armrest of a chair in the first row. He would basically throw the chalk at us. Of course, the first row was empty, too, so it was okay. It was a tangent about whether we were investing or dating, whether we were deciding what to do with our lives. We would never reap any significant reward without taking any significant risks. The biggest risk, McGowan taught us, was doing nothing, playing it safe, to avoid other more obvious risks. Avoiding risk is a surefire way to avoid success. The chance for greatness is the price you pay for protecting the status quo from something worse. That afternoon, I gambled on an English major and a career as an academic, so you can thank Father McGowan. I share that story to remind us all to take the time to articulate how and why our different subjects matter. We can get mired in the specifics of our disciplines, and we are not all priests. But we can all strengthen our students and our scholarship, and in turn the university, by making explicit the ways our individual subjects inform lives. Seton Hall is going to have to undertake more risk if we genuinely want to be the top 100 university and top 10 Catholic university we say we want to be. This semester we matriculate our largest freshman class ever, 1,524 diverse young women and men with higher SAT scores than any previous class. And we still serve more Pell-eligible students than our peers. And recent studies affirm that we rank among the very best universities for socioeconomic mobility. The increasingly large classes of the past few years have been justified as compensation for the leaner recession years behind us and as hedges against potentially leaner years ahead when we face demographic cliffs, fewer college-age kids in the Northeast, questions about the value and affordability of college, risks. But we only hedge against our own success if we do not invest in teaching all of these students as well as we ought. We cannot welcome larger and larger classes without investing proportionately in the fully qualified and justly compensated tenure-track faculty that we need to teach all of these students according to our standards. Our reputation is at risk if we farm out our courses to adjuncts. It takes time, full mastery of a discipline, and full commitment to Seton Hall to integrate mission into our courses. Empirical studies show that teaching freshmen with talented full-time faculty improves retention, and that freshman classes taught by seasoned, tenured faculty attract students to those majors. The National Survey of Student Engagement values high-impact practices, like undergraduate research, that require small classes with research-active faculty. U.S. News and World Report rankings factor faculty resources, including faculty-to-student ratios and faculty salaries, as 20% of their scores, 4 times as much as the 5% credited to the alumni giving rate. The U.S. News rankings also include academic reputation, which depends, of course, upon the visibility of our scholarship. So better retention, better NISI scores, better U.S. News rankings, better distribution of majors, better teaching in core mission classes, and better research productivity. All of these improvements, especially with 1,524 student classes, depend on hiring more tenure-track faculty across the board in every college. The interim provost, Dr. Boroff, has admirably insisted that we run national searches for only the best qualified candidates for tenure-track jobs. Our students deserve those faculty for all of their courses. Of course, the Board of Regents also still needs to hire a full-time president, following those same high standards upheld by the faculty. An accomplished scholar and teacher, capable of articulating the mission, whatever his or her discipline, and capable, too, of leading the kind of massive capital campaign that we need to come any closer to competing with the top 10 Catholic universities. We need a president willing to take the risk of investing in a better Seton Hall by investing in faculty. Otherwise, we will not deserve any more students. The Board of Trustees have recently changed the structure of the Presidential Search and Screen Committee in the university bylaws. They have added an additional representative of the priest community and a vice president. These representatives are important, but they unquestionably dilute the faculty's role on the committee. We will need to speak more loudly. But the Board of Regents has not yet assembled the search committee. We are already running behind the academic search calendar, already compromising our ability to hire the best candidate for the next year. On behalf of the faculty, I implore them here and now to get the search going again. The Senate has a packed agenda of other matters this year, and I'll just list some of them for you. The new Nutley campus has opened. Work must still be done to ensure the safety and comfort of our colleagues there, to keep SHIMS and nursing faculty engaged and involved in faculty governance and the South Orange campus, and to redress iniquities like the Nutley parking fees, which are 60% higher than those at South Orange. We continue our work clarifying, revising, and improving the faculty guide. Please read the guide and share any concerns you have with the Senate. Adjunct pay at Seton Hall is astonishingly lower than other schools in New Jersey. We will be working to redress this injustice as well. It compromises our Catholic principles and our competitiveness alike. The interim president has committed to recommending a new salary study for faculty and administrators both. We will use the data to address salary compression. We look forward to continuing our work with the interim provost and the interim president during this really challenging time of many transitions. Thank you all for your hard work, and best wishes for a productive, healthy, and happy school year.
Thank you, Dr. Farina. It is my honor now to introduce our keynote speaker. Dr. James Kimball is a professor in the College of Communication and the Arts. Dr. Kimball joined Seton Hall University in 2005. He is known for his research on domestic propaganda and his work with scholarship candidates. As you can see by his bio, Dr. Kimball has an extensive career as a scholar. Among his many honors and accolades is a Fulbright scholarship at the University of Rijeka in Croatia, and he was named the Distinguished Honor Graduate of the U.S. Army's Chaplain Center and School. Dr. Kimball is the Associate Director of the new University Leadership Program for the College of Communication and the Arts. Please join me now in welcoming our 2018 Faculty Convocation keynote speaker, Dr. Jim Kimball.
Last week, in this very room, we each had the opportunity to listen to a State of the University address that was challenging, ambitious, resolute, and determined. And if you're like me, you had at least two takeaways from that experience. First, you do not, under any circumstances, want to get in the way of President Meehan. Second, Seton Hall does face numerous challenges, but it continues to charge into the future, to quote our president, with a laser-like focus. One might even say that we're living up to our community's age-old byword, hazard zet forward. Now, I realize that there are a number of folks here today who are new to our community, and so the phrase on the screen behind me might as well be in Norman French. It is Norman French. What does it mean? Well, not being a linguist, I sought the help of one of our impressive colleagues who's climbed Mount Everest 5 times and has won more Academy Awards than that loser Meryl Streep. He also happens to be an expert in Norman French. Of course, I'm talking about our own Mike Reuter. This is his latest book. With Mike's gracious help, I feel confident in explaining that hazard zet forward simply means charging into the future, heedless of the obstacles in the way. But I confess that I'm not so confident in that notion is always the best advice. After all, didn't the Titanic hazard zet forward? In fact, my own research on the 4 freedoms, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's World War II era catchphrase, confirms that hazard zet forward isn't always enough. Rather, sometimes it's important to ask for guidance or outright help. And so, dear trustees, regents, administrators, faculty, colleagues, staffers, and students, I offer a brief case study of the 4 freedoms, highlighting the importance of seeking assistance when necessary. We'll examine, first, their failure, and second, their fulfillment. And from this slide, by the way, you can see why my working title for this address was A Festival of F-Words. That was rejected. Let's begin with the failure of the 4 freedoms. How can such a famous phrase be a failure? Well, to answer that question, we have to go back to the 1940s. To our 21st century eyes, this era is strange, to say the least. Fortunately, we have another faculty colleague who's not only a 7-time Olympian, but also the world's leading expert on the year 1941. I'm talking about Paula Franzese. As Paula reminds us, a lot is happening here in 1941. Wonder Woman has her comic book debut. Workers finish construction on Mount Rushmore, and Joe DiMaggio forges a 56-game hitting streak. But it's now January 6, 1941, and President Franklin Roosevelt has decided that it's time to inspire his fellow Americans. His annual message to Congress thus introduces what he calls the four freedoms: freedom of expression, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Critically, it's clear from the context that he regards these as noble wartime aims. He calls them four essential human freedoms that all just nations should be founded upon. So what in the world was the problem? Well, for starters, the media generally ignored the four freedoms. To give you an example, in the week after FDR's address, the New York Times printed the newly minted phrase "Lend-Lease" 20 times. How many times did it publish the phrase "four freedoms" in that same time period? None. Now, I'm not a math professor, but I do think that 0 is a pretty small number. And even though the White House kept trying to pitch the four freedoms over the next 2 years, it found it difficult to overcome what amounted to dissenting voices. The magazine Christian Century, for instance, and they put this in print, said that the four freedoms were a mere form of words with a hollow, empty sound. And Time magazine's Henry Luce thought the idea of enumerating freedoms was just silly. He put this in print: "There aren't numbered freedoms, there's only freedom. Patrick Henry didn't demand 1, 3, 5, and 7. He used the singular." Meanwhile, the poet Langston Hughes was upset as well. He worried that African American citizens would be denied the four freedoms altogether. As he wrote, "The president's four freedoms appeal to me. If you believe in the four freedoms too, then share them with me. Don't keep them all for you." By the fall of 1942, then, pollster George Gallup had seen enough. As he wrote privately to FDR, "There's still a real need for a battle cry, but the four freedoms haven't registered here at home." In a word, they'd failed. But FDR wasn't about to give up on his cherished four freedoms. He understood that if charging ahead isn't working, that it's okay to ask for assistance. And he did ask, requesting that the artistic world illustrate the four freedoms to make them more accessible to the American public. The result was a visible, audible, and even tactile flood of four freedoms interpretations. Now, what in the world, you might ask, did a certain illustrator named Norman Rockwell have to do with this artistic flood? Well, fortunately, we have a third faculty colleague, also a world champion marathoner, who dabbles in biographies in his spare time. Yes, it's none other than Casey Choi. It turns out that Rockwell's four freedoms, as Choi tells us, were instrumental in familiarizing the nation with FDR's four freedoms. The beloved illustrator produced four scenes of everyday Americans giving life to those freedoms: freedom of expression, a citizen speaking his dissenting view; freedom of worship, a diverse group worshiping, each in their own way; freedom from want, a bountiful Thanksgiving-style feast; and freedom from fear, parents grateful that their children are safe from destructive violence. The Saturday Evening Post printed these images in early 1943, and the result was a sensation, with Rockwell receiving over 60,000 fan letters. Watching that sensation with great interest from Washington, D.C., was the U.S. Treasury's war bond sales team, which in Seton Hall terms was sort of a cross between advancement and donor relations. Soon, those four paintings were part of a 16-city Four Freedoms War Bond show, in which each host city tried to outdo the others in terms of extravaganza. And what was the impact of all of this publicity? Suddenly, the four freedoms were everywhere on the home front, and they had become meaningful. As an Army lieutenant wrote to Rockwell, "Your art has given us something tangible to associate with that for which we're fighting." So that was how the Four Freedoms began to find fulfillment with the assistance of scores of artists, including one of America's most beloved illustrators. By 1945, with FDR gone, Eleanor Roosevelt took the torch even further, lobbying ceaselessly to incorporate those four freedoms in the United Nations Charter. And there they remain to this day in the UN Declaration of Human Rights, which has inspired the likes of Gandhi, Mandela, and, closer to home, the countless Seton Hall students who have studied that very document. And with those students, we return to the present. It might seem like we've traveled a long way in the last 9 or 10 minutes, from Norman French to Norman Rockwell, from bywords to F words, and from 1941 to 2018. But I submit that we haven't really traveled all that far, because the journey of the four freedoms echoes resoundingly here at Seton Hall University. Just like FDR and his team, we too like to charge ahead resolutely, occasionally heedless of the obstacles in our way. And often it works out pretty darn well, as it has with our new School of Medicine and in my own area, the new College of Communication and the Arts. But there are times, I think we can admit, like the initial failure of the four freedoms, when we become somewhat mired. It's those very moments, it seems to me, when it's perfectly okay to reach out to our colleagues for help. And fortunately, our community is extremely helpful. When I asked Mike and Paula and Casey for their assistance with this message, they instantly said yes. And so did another one of our esteemed colleagues, a black belt in 4 separate martial arts, and a former astronaut. Her memoir tells us a lot about the virtues of Seton Hall University. That's right, it's our own Mary Balkin. As Mary points out, we're entitled to a certain measure of pride at Seton Hall. Indeed, even as our student population sets new records every year, and even as their test scores continue to rise, we refuse to rest on our laurels. True to our byword, hazard, zet, forward, we continue charging ahead, ignoring those pesky obstacles as onlookers point to us and say, nevertheless, they persisted. Therefore, even as we persist with a laser-like focus, I hope that the story of the four freedoms will encourage you to collaborate with your gifted, smart, and gracious colleagues. As we look forward to the brighter pirate future outlined in President Meehan's State of the University address, let us all remember that it's okay to ask for help in making that vision of the future a reality. But let us also remember these wise words of promise and of farewell, borrowed with permission from my inspiring friend, Mike Reuter. As he puts it, have a beautiful, wondrous day and a magnificent semester.
Thank you, Dr. Kimball. Our interim president, Dr. Mary Meehan, continues to make tremendous contributions to Seton Hall University. Dr. Meehan is an extraordinary leader who continues to guide Seton Hall toward excellence as we form students to be servant leaders in a global society. And so it is now my pleasure to introduce our interim president and ask her to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Father, and Jim, thank you for your, where are you? I lost you. Jim Kimball. Thank you so much for your gracious words. You always are so, you come forward always with such a gentle grace and your humor, and there's such gifts to all of us, but most especially, I think, the way you treat our students. So thank you so very, very much. I remember being in a faculty convocation now probably 20 years ago, and I still remember, just because it's an easy quote, Monsignor Sheeran, then president, got up and he said, from the book of Sirach, "Speak concisely, say much in a few words." And I remember him saying to me, when you're speaking to faculty on a Friday afternoon, you should just be very brief and let them go and relax. They've had a long week. It's been a tough week for all of us, hasn't it? And rather than my prepared remarks, I'm just going to speak from a moment from my heart. I just want to say that in some dark days, the last few, for all of us, there have been some really glimmering lights, and I'd like to just share a few reflections on one of those moments. Dr. Boroff and I had the privilege of meeting with the faculty who have just completed their first full-time year, and it was the very same day as the tragedy with Miles. And so I have to say I went in there with a very heavy heart thinking, how am I going to put a smile on for this? But there I sat listening to people talking about why they're at Seton Hall, what matters to them, and talking about their students in a way that was both eloquent and inspiring, sharing ways that different practices they're using in classrooms. And as I walked out of that room with a heavy heart, I said, this is who Seton Hall is. It's each and every one of you, how you live your lives every day. And as I said at the State of the University, I won't rehash it, you know, we're not always a perfect community. As a matter of fact, when I was a student here and I listened to Jim repeat our famous motto, when I was here, we used to say, it's really haphazard, set forward. Feels that way sometimes, doesn't it? I think it does for all of us. But despite whether it's haphazard, without hazard, we do keep moving forward. And sometimes we stumble, sometimes we fall. But at Seton Hall, we keep getting up and we keep on moving. And so I am really so proud of this faculty, and I am just so grateful for the hard work you do. I think I've said that a lot over the last few days. I've spoken to many different venues. And since I promised to say it in just a few words, I don't know how else to say it, but thank you. You touch our hearts, and in these past few days, I know how much you've really meant to our students more than ever. So thank you, God bless you, and let's hope that this year continues to be one where we can be good colleagues to each other, and but most important, that we're there for our students. So thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, President Meehan. At this point in the program, we will now ask the deans to come to the podium so that they can recognize their faculty promotions and tenure and also introduce their new faculty. Allow me now to welcome the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Peter Shoemaker.
It is my pleasure to introduce our faculty members for promotion to full professor and them to stand. Please stand. Celine Carr, PhD, Department of Sociology, Anthropology, and Social Work. Mitra Shurjania Faizabadi, PhD, Department of Physics. Amadou Jackie Kaba, PhD, Department of Sociology, Anthropology, and Social Work. Marianne Lloyd, PhD, Department of Psychology. Manfred Minimer, PhD, Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. Robert Polito, PhD, Department of Political Science and Public Affairs. Gabriella Romani, PhD, Department of Languages, Literatures, and Cultures. Congratulations, faculty. I will introduce our new faculty and ask them to please stand. Please hold your applause until all new faculty have been introduced. Giuseppe Fazzari, PhD, Seton Hall University, Department of Criminal Justice. Suzanne Gantar, PhD, University of Illinois at Chicago, Department of Biological Sciences. Amy Gladstone, PhD, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, Department of Sociology, Anthropology, and Social Work. Eric Hill, PhD, Ohio State University, Department of Biological Sciences. Paulos Lema, MS, Umea University, Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. Christy Luttrell, PhD, Stevens Institute of Technology, Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. Christopher McGonigal, PhD, University of Louisiana at Lafayette, Department of English. Alyssa Nico, MSW, Fordham University, Department of Sociology, Anthropology, and Social Work. Ashley Pettit, PhD, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, Department of Biological Sciences. Juan A. Rios Jr., PhD, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, Department of Sociology, Anthropology, and Social Work. Debasmita Roy, PhD, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Department of Biological Sciences. Ronald Staton, PhD, Northwestern University, Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. Jeffrey Upton, PhD, University of California, Berkeley, Department of Political Science and Public Affairs. Giovanni Ventre, PhD, Seton Hall University, Department of Biological Sciences. Gail Vignola, MA, University of Massachusetts, Department of English. Jeffrey Watkinson, MA, Old Dominion University, Department of English. And Gregory Weedman, PhD, Johns Hopkins University, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Welcome to Seton Hall University. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Joyce Strauser, Dean of the Stillman School of Business, to the platform. Dean Strauser.
Good afternoon. It's my privilege to welcome new faculty to the Stillman School of Business. First, Professor Edner Bataille, who joins us, earned his MA in the University of Miami, and joins our Department of Economics and Legal Studies. Professor Leo Chung earned his MBA at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and joins our Department of Finance. Salvatore Ferraro earned his doctorate of management at the University of Phoenix and joins us in the Department of Computing and Decision Sciences. And finally, Brian Price earned his PhD at Stanford University, joins us in the Department of Management as the Executive Director of the Buccino Leadership Institute. Colleagues, welcome to the Stillman School of Business and Seton Hall University. I now invite Deirdre Yates, Founding Dean of the College of Communication and Arts, to join me at the podium. Deirdre.
It's my pleasure to first introduce our faculty members who have earned the rank of full professor and ask them to stand. I think you just met him, our illustrious orator, Dr. James Kimball. And Professor Chris Cruz from the Department of Art History, and Design. Congratulations. And now it's my honor, and I'm delighted to introduce some new scholars and artists to the Department of Communication and the Arts. Joining our Department of Communication, Journalism, and Public Relations in the area of journalism, Anne Bollinger, please rise and stay standing and hold your applause. She comes to us with a BS from Boston University. Joining our Department of Visual Media and Performing Arts in Media Studies, Dr. Brandon Bueller, holding a PhD from the University of Southern California. Christine Lowe, with a Master of Fine Arts degree from Vermont College of Fine Arts, joins the Department of Art History, and Design in the field of art, design, and interactive multimedia. She was unable to be here with us today, Catherine Lancioni, who has an MS from Columbia University and is joining our Public Relations program in the Department of Communication, Journalism, and Public Relations. We also are delighted to welcome Gregory Stevens, who is joining our Department of Art, Art History, and Design, holding a master's degree from George Washington University, and also going to be teaching in our Museum Professions program. And Wayne Vollweier, there he is, holding a Master of Fine Arts degree from Long Island University. He's joining our Department of Visual Media and Performing Arts in the production area. So welcome to the College of Communication and the Arts and Seton Hall University. Allow me to introduce Dean Andrea Bartoli from the School of Diplomacy and International Relations.
It's my pleasure to introduce our faculty member promoted to full professor, Anne-Marie Murphy. Congratulations. Please join me in welcoming our new faculty member, Robert Joseph Adelson, Joy for the friends, PhD, University of Southern California. Welcome. Allow me to introduce Dr. Maureen Gillette, the Dean of the College of Education and Human Services. Dean Gillette.
Thank you and good afternoon. It is my honor to introduce our faculty member who was recently promoted to full professor, Dr. Elisa Hinden from the Department of Educational Studies. I would love to introduce you to our new faculty member, Dr. John McConnell, whose PhD is from the University of Memphis. We have already sent him to an accreditation conference, which is where he is today. And finally, I am very pleased to announce the award of Professor Emeritus status for Dr. Roberta Devlin Scheer from the Department of Educational Studies. Congratulations to all. I'd now like to invite Dean Brian Schulman from the School of Health and Medical Sciences to come to the podium. Dean Schulman.
Good afternoon. Please join me in welcoming our three new faculty members: Karen Grabowski, Master of Science, Northeastern University, Department of Speech Language Pathology; Lisa Shaikovitz, Master of Arts, New York University, Department of Occupational Therapy; and Brian Pinkleton, PhD, University of Notre Dame, Department of Interprofessional Health Sciences and Health Administration. Welcome to the School of Health and Medical Sciences and to Seton Hall University. Allow me now to introduce the Dean of our law school, Kathleen Buzang, and ask her to come to the podium. Dean Buzang.
Good afternoon. I'm proud to introduce the future of Seton Hall Law School. Constitutional law law professor Michael Coonan comes to us with tenure and as a full professor from LSU. He earned his JD from Yale Law School. Lawyering professor Carla Foy earned her JD from Harvard Law School. Criminal law professor Brian Murray earned his JD from Notre Dame Law School. Energy law professor Heather Payne earned her JD from the University of North Carolina. Lawyering professor Melanie Perez-Velios earned her JD from Rutgers Law School. Tax and business law professor Richard Winchester earned his JD from Yale Law School. Thank you. And now we have joining us at the podium Dean John Bushman.
is my pleasure to introduce our 4 new faculty members. Mr. Kyle Downey, MLIS from Rutgers University. Mr. Andy Hickner, MS from the University of Michigan. Ms. Allison Piazza, MS-LIS from Pratt Institute. All 3 of them are at our Health Sciences Library in what we call North Orange. Ms. Caitlin Kanamui, MS-LIS from Pratt Institute, joins the University Libraries as our new Access Services Librarian. Welcome, all 4 of you. Allow me now to introduce Dr. Benita Stanton, Founding Dean of the School of Medicine. Dr. Stanton.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a true delight to be here. And let me say that as much as we're really enjoying the campus in North Orange, it's lovely to be back into South Orange today as well. So welcome to all of you. It's my great pleasure to introduce our new faculty and ask them to please stand. Anthony Payne, PhD from Wake Forest University School of Medicine, and he's in the Department of Medical Sciences. Anthony Pagano, PhD from SUNY Graduate Center. He's also in the Department of Medical Sciences. Linda Siracusa, PhD, State University of New York at Buffalo, and she's in the Department of Medical Sciences. And finally, Michelle Titanick, PhD from Pennsylvania State University College of Medicine. She's also in the Department of Medical Sciences. By the way, we also have 22 clinical departments, but they aren't new recruits to Seton Hall. They are appointments, so it's not like we only have one little department over in the School of Medicine. We're delighted to have them, but again, it's wonderful to see you all, and let's congratulate all of them on coming. And now I ask Marie Foley, Dean of the College of Nursing, to come to the podium.
Good afternoon. So I am honored to introduce our faculty members who have been awarded tenure. So Dr. Judy Lucas in the undergraduate department in nursing. And next, please join me in congratulating our faculty member who has been promoted to associate professor with tenure, Dr. Mary Ellen Roberts in the graduate nursing department. And now I ask that all of you join me in introducing and welcoming our new faculty members. Dr. Nancy Ainella, who received her PhD from Rush University as in our undergraduate department in nursing. Dr. Beth Jameson, who received her PhD from Rutgers, the State University, who is also in our undergraduate department in nursing. And Dr. Diane McClure, who received her Doctor of Nursing Practice from Seton Hall University in our graduate nursing department. So welcome to the College of Nursing, and we're glad you're here. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Nancy Enright, our Director of the University Corps, to join me at the podium. Nancy.
Thank you. I'm delighted to welcome to the University Corps and to Seton Hall University our 2 new faculty members, Jordan Miller with a PhD from Fordham University, and Travis Stevens with a PhD from Harvard Divinity School. Welcome. And I now asked to return to the podium Father Lawrence Porter, our Master of Ceremonies.
I welcome all the new faculty and congratulate those faculty who have received promotions and tenure. But once again, I want to now to invite Dr. Farina to the podium to present the 2018 Albert Haycom Faculty Service Medal. Dr. Farina.
We can hear the ice clinking across the green. Will Dr. Marta Dayrup please stand? As chair of the Faculty Senate, I am pleased to continue the tradition of presenting the Faculty Service Medal in the name of the faculty at our annual convocation. The Senate resolution that established this award in 1998 states, "This honor shall be bestowed upon a full-time South Orange faculty member for giving copiously of his or her time, energy, and personal gifts to advance the status and interests of the faculty and thereby of the academic mission of the university." As a tribute to Dr. Albert Haycom, and through a Faculty Senate resolution in 2008, the Faculty Service Medal was renamed the Albert Haycom Faculty Service Medal. It is my pleasure to announce that the 2018 Albert Haycom Faculty Service Medal recipient is Dr. Marta Dayrup, Professor from University Libraries. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Farina, and congratulations, Dr. Dayrup. I want to draw your attention now to something very important, to the tickets inside your program. See these? Each of you should have 5 of these tickets, okay? Put your tickets in the desired baskets. Oh, there are 10 baskets in the Bethany Hall that you will have a chance to win. And put your tickets in the baskets that attract you, and stay to see if you are the winner when your number is called. I would like to thank everyone who brought this program together, especially the members of the Faculty Convocation Planning Committee who worked tirelessly to make this program possible. But now it is a tradition that we conclude the Faculty Convocation by singing the alma mater. Leading us once more will be Dr. Gloria Thurmond, and she will be accompanied once again by Dr. Dina Levine. So I ask you all now to please stand and remain standing at your seat while the Dias party exits. I would like to ask that the deans, newly promoted, and new faculty join together in front of the stage following this program for group photographs. The reception will be held in Bethany Hall immediately following this convocation. Please proceed to Bethany Hall after the Dias party exits. Thank you.
To alma mater all be loyal, keep her bright and pure as light, never waver from her precepts, guard her banner blue and white. Oh, sing a praise to highest eyes and be